Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad, this is my channel Animate Orange, and this week in 3D metal model news. Starting as usual with Fascinations. Within the past few days they've come out with their October newsletter and released that via email. If you've signed up for their newsletter, you've already gotten it by now, so you already know they've given a little fall sneak peek of an apparent upcoming model that I had no idea about. It is the S64 Sky Crane. Again, didn't know anything about this upcoming model, but it is a colorful and neat looking aircraft. Appears to be the type of aircraft that you hook a cargo container under it and it, picks the whole thing up and helicopters it to wherever you need it to go. I do remember somebody being pretty excited about the model and saying that they even suggested that as a possible upcoming model. So maybe making suggestions does work out after all. No earthly idea when that's coming. They kind of sort of indicate coming fall. I've said this before, Fascinations doesn't generally like to give out specific dates when models are coming out, generally, because they're kind of a slave to their timetables. They don't always understand when they get the model in that they can then turn around and send it out. There's been plenty of times where they thought models were coming and they didn't come. They simply didn't get them to be able to ship them out because while Metal Earth is sold in the US, it still comes from China and they still have to get it from China to send it out. With the exception of that recent little bit of leaked information I got, they don't usually give out dates when stuff is coming. So I think kind of business is back to usual now, with them just generally saying a model is coming up and not being more specific than that. Then they can change, and if it does and I find out, I'll certainly let you know. And also in this newsletter they're doing what they usually do, and that's some sort of Metal Earth challenge. The latest challenge: your favorite model. Send marketing@fascinations.com a photo of your current favorite Metal Earth model with a short paragraph about why it is your all-time favorite for a chance to be featured in our next newsletter and to receive the gift of Metal Earth. Deadline: entries must be mailed to Fascinations or marketing@fascinations.com by Thursday, October 15th. Rules: image must be of your favorite Metal Earth model. Please write us about why you love this model. Be sure to include your full name and mailing address when submitting your entry. Pretty simple. Looking back at my collection, which one would I pick as a favorite if I were to do that? I don't know. There's so many possibilities. I get asked from time to time what's my favorite model, and I have a difficult time answering it, and it at best comes down to of several models that I was really fond of, and that sometimes changes. Anyway, I do want to say congratulations to Matthew Jones for winning the last Metal Earth challenge that they did with a Deadpool in front of a Universal Studios model. It's a pretty cool picture. Sarah Howard for the Seiko palm tree model, kind of in its natural habitat. You don't see much of those models anymore. That's a pretty older style model, which I think has been discontinued. And Daniel Wagner for the Beach Titanic with a tank and a plane and an R2 model all on the beach. Kind of an interesting picture right there. So congratulations to the three of you for winning the last challenge. Probably already got your models on the way if you don't have them already. Now, if you don't get the Metal Earth newsletter and you would like to receive it yourself, go to metalearth.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and kind of on the right you'll see a little box that you can enter your email address and click on it'll say get the latest Metal Earth news, put in your email address, hit the subscribe button to subscribe, and you will start getting the monthly newsletter just like I do. And of course there is a link in the description down below to the HTML version of the newsletter this month. Looking over at Piececool, the website was a little confusing when I looked at it late last night, because they had the Hulkbuster, and then past the Hulkbuster appeared what appears to be a new model. A little out of order there. And it's listed as the National Treasure Series Grape Flower and Bird Pattern Silver Sachet. It's a long name. Whatever. It's one of those hanging type models. It looks really interesting and intricate. It's got a lot to it. Looks really cool. 6 1/4 sheets, 5 of 7 stars. I think it said it was 592 parts with 493 accessories. If I understand that correctly, The material is apparently brass. The finished size, and I think this is including the stand, is 26 centimeters by 15.5 centimeters by 30 centimeters tall. Part of the National Treasure series, which, you know, a lot of the Chinese manufacturers like Piececool and MU and I want to say like Microworld, they've been doing very much sort of cultural national treasure, sort of hyping Chinese culture and lifestyle and this, that, and the other. So this kind of fits with what they've been doing for a while now. And it looks like there are two possible ways to build this model: more plain version or a much more decorated and ornate version. And it does kind of, one of the things I translated kind of indicates it's two possible ways, and it's one or the other. You can't like undo it and go to the other. You can't easily change it, which makes sense with these metal models. You start undoing things, you start breaking things if you're not very careful. And even if you're careful, you do it too much, you break things. It also looks like there's some historical information on the page. I'm not going to get into that. There is a link to the Piececool site, actually the link specifically to that model if you want to look into that yourself. Does seem to be some interesting history there. I just didn't want to take the time to translate it all. I just wanted to take the time to tell you about the model. Looking around the MU's website, AliExpress, I'm not really seeing much of anything or nothing new model-wise out there. I did notice that Crazy Toys has a much better price on the Halloween themed models. They've got all four of them for about $28.69 on the AliExpress store of Crazy Toys with free shipping. So that's a much more reasonable price than $60 some. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that, because with them being very Halloween themed, and Halloween is coming upon us fairly quickly now, I feel like there's a strong chance that if we wait, or if I wait, the prices might come down. Because at this point, even if I ordered them now, they might not be here in time for Halloween, and I seriously doubt I'll get them built in time. But if I'm patient and Halloween passes, maybe the prices will come down. I'll snatch them up, and I'll have a whole year to build them for next year. Be pretty cool. I'm just really kind of digging those models and want to get them, but don't want to overpay for them. But they've got the Frankenstein house, the candy house, the pumpkin house, the vampire, Crazy Toys, AliExpress store, all of them for $28.69 US dollars. Didn't see them on the crazytoys.co.uk, or maybe I did. Not sure if I did or not. They're definitely on the AliExpress store. And I'm going to jump from there into kind of topics of the week. I normally do, or I have done a lot, a topic of the week. In the past couple of weeks, I haven't had a specific topic. I've just kind of left the comments, the conversation open for whatever you want to comment on down below, and just been kind of going over some of the comments. And it seems to be going fairly well. There are a couple of things I want to talk about, but I'm going to go to the comments first because they're leading into some of the things I want to talk about. So starting with GarthTube, GarthTube mentions the metal blocks. GarthTube says, the metal blocks you speak of, I've only seen them on the Crazy Toys store, crazytoys.co.uk, or Ali store. I guess even though I'm in New Zealand, ha ha ha. They are of the Piececool brand and will show up if you search for block. Not cheap for what they are, which is a mix of Lego and nano block. FYI, Mario mad people there are plenty Mario nano block models. And I did search for block, and I got lots of stuff back on AliExpress when I tried to search for like metal block or aluminum block or metal Lego, stuff like that. I got lots of results, but I couldn't really piece out anything Piececool, pun not intended. That just came out that way just now. So like I said before, it was just very difficult to find, and I have since gone back and checked on the crazytoys.co.uk, and I did find 3 of the models, but I didn't find anything on the AliExpress store. I should continue with Mary Pate, who also commented about the metal brick models. Those metal brick ones are definitely pricey. This is one of the reasons that I'm really curious. Are they worth the hype? Crazy Toys does have a tea set, room screen, and treasure box in the metal bricks. Also, I'm seeing more stores such as Crazy Toys and MMZ having the Halloween model for a more reasonable price. And I mentioned already about Crazy Toys having the Halloween themed models. I did see MMZ has one of them. I think just one, but not the rest. So, But Crazy Toys does have a good price. I want to say I saw another even slightly better price for just one of them on another store, but it's not a store that I'm going to recommend because not only have I had issues, but I read a thing on Facebook, one of the Facebook 3D metal puzzle groups of somebody who received a package from the same company that I had trouble with. It was very poorly shipped, got wet, and ruined the instructions. So, not going to talk about what they have. But I did see the three metal brick kits. They've got like the animal fish stuff or whatever. I've not seen them anywhere. They've got something they just came out or coming out with that I'm not seeing. But there were three. When I did go back and look on Crazy Toys, and Mary Pate mentioned them. Tea-set, the room screen, and treasure box, ranging from 26 to 48 pounds on the Crazy Toys, British pounds on Crazy Toys. .co.uk, which translate to from about 60 or 33 to 62 US dollars for those models. So they are pretty pricey metal Lego sets, and they don't even work with Lego from what I've seen. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. Not been curious enough to throw money at them because even the kits that I've seen are not that interesting. And yeah, they don't. Personally, I don't have my intention. I'm a little bit curious about them, but not curious enough to go jump in and buy them. Now, George Bell made a comment on last week's video. The Piececool speculation sounds interesting. If they can find a way to get their models to international builders easier, looking at you, Hulkbuster, that can only be a positive thing. Looking forward to hearing more. And yeah, I mentioned last week how I heard some rumors that Piececool was moving more towards an international availability of their models, where, and it kind of goes back where like Metal Earth seemed to be doing that at one point, but is that going to flip-flop? Are they going to, Metal Earth not going to be able to do that, or Fascination's not going to be able to do that, and Piececool's going to take over? Are they both going to be able to do that? I'm not sure. Don't even want to speculate on what's going to happen. I do know that there was a period a few years ago where you could easily get Piececool bottles on like Amazon and whatnot, but there was like some sort of crackdown where they were being taken down, as if someone was saying those aren't allowed to be sold here in the US, and so no, you got to take them down. So that kind of stings for the stuff that, for the stuff you can't get through Metal Earth or couldn't at the time. That really stinks. For the stuff that you could get through Metal Earth as well as Piececool, alright, fine. Here in the US, Metal Earth gets the right to sell that, Piececool doesn't. But there were Piececool models that Metal Earth didn't make, and that kind of stinks to not be able to get those. But maybe that's going to reverse. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that develops. Now, Bryce Park commented, and I appreciate this comment, the first link you provided for the Microworld Chinese Zodiac models has the sizes listed in the individual product images. On the small size, you have the rat, which is 5.8 centimeters by 10.8 centimeters by 9 centimeters. On the larger size, you have the dragon, which is 9 by 13 by 12.4 centimeters. So now we have a general idea. I did go back and look at that first link, and it took me like 5 minutes to figure out where those measurements were, because they weren't in the regular pictures off the left that you can click on, but I had to scroll down and find it in one of the random pictures. If you clicked on an individual model, it would show different pictures at the bottom. And I honestly am not sure if when I first got that information, those pictures might not have been there, but by the time the video went up and people saw it, they may have been added, or I may have just completely overlooked it like a dunce, because sometimes that happens. But thank you, Bryce Park, for providing that information. And now we all have a general idea of the sizes of those models. Now, GarthTube had already commented once, but had made another comment I wanted to talk about now. My comment got flagged. 12 Zodiac animals related to the Chinese Zodiac calendar, but these statues actually represent the red bronze statues from the Qing Dynasty, late 1700s. China currently only has the ox, tiger, horse, and monkey and pig statue. France have the rat and rabbit, although due to return them soon. But the snake, goat, and rooster and dog still missing. Jackie Chan even did a movie loosely around these called Chinese Zodiac. And that is interesting. There is some history behind it, and I did not realize when I first... I mean, I kind of figured there was some history, but I didn't realize that the history was that those models are based off of figures or statues that did exist or do exist, and that apparently were stolen at some point. Like, armies came in and just stole them. I don't know completely the history, but I did see in one of the listings, I went back and looked at it a second time, and it actually had a video, and it kind of tricked me because the video thumbnail is a picture of an LED light kit, and I was like, is this a sale item of just an LED kit? That might be kind of interesting. If there were like just a simple LED kit you could buy to add to your models to light them up, it's a really neat idea. Though, getting one off of AliExpress, I've known several people to buy models that came with LED kits, and the LED kits are kind of garbage. So, and if you know a little bit about electronics and wiring stuff yourself, you can probably build your own. I haven't done it, but I think if I studied and worked on it, I could build my own. But it turns out it was an actual video, and it is apparently like a Chinese person speaking in English, but with heavy accents, talking about how in the 1700s, the 1700s, armies broke in and stole a bunch of these artifacts, and talks a little bit about the history. So it's really kind of fascinating, and on my own I might look more into it, but there's definitely some symbolism there to those models, and thank you, Garth2, for providing that information. I look forward to next week when Garth2 possibly leaves a comment on this video talking about the Piececool model that I mentioned earlier and giving some details about that. Nudge, nudge. And last but not least, Logan Springer. This isn't really related to the 3D metal model news, but has anyone built a wooden model from Wooden Town? I built the Eiffel Tower, and it looks great. It's about the same size as the Mega Eiffel Tower from Metal Earth, and it was only $20. I do not have a model from Wooden Town. I do have this Roker model, R-O-K-R, which is a Steam Express. It was sent to me by At Play Toys for me. You know, it was just sent to me for me to work on, and I did do like an opening video of this, but I never went any farther. Very much like to try my hand at some wood models. Just haven't had the time. I mean, look at me now. I'm still trying to crank out this Hogwarts Express model I've been working on forever. I have less time than ever now that I'm working full-time and side projects and whatnot. I hate that things have slowed down so much, but it is what it is. But if there's anybody out there that have worked on the Wooden Town models or built one, you know, feel free to leave your comments to Logan Springer to let him know in last week's video or in this week's video what you think of those models, and you know, if you'd like to see me build a wood model. I would like to try it. Just never had the time. And I've got this train here one, but I just haven't had the time. So I'll leave it at that this week. Again, I don't have any specific questions or topics of the week, but if you do want to comment about any of the things that were talked about today, feel free to do so, and we'll read about it next week. Or if there's any specific questions you would like to ask me or have me ask of other people, leave them in the comments down below, and we'll talk about it. I do, before I close out, it is the beginning of another month, and I want to thank current Patreon supporters for supporting this channel. Is greatly appreciated. The list is slowly getting longer over time. I do want to thank Andrew S., Chris Paskowich, George Bell, Giovanni Filardo, Hugh Morrison, Jay, James Herring, James Stalker, Kaj Nielsen, Kamal McCoon, Ken Crowan, Kendall Fargo, Laurent Palm, Mon Hong, Phil Miller, Seth Bell, Shalyn Moody, Timothy Green, Timothy Vogel, and Willie Porter. Thank you very much for being a Patreon supporter and supporting this channel. It is greatly appreciated. Even though I've kind of slowed way down right now, I think honestly at this point I'm not going to be pumping out models like I did a few months ago. I'm still going to try and push forward. hopefully we'll find some more time here soon. I did finally finish the edit of part 3, the initial edit of part 3 of the Hogwarts Castle, which is right behind the camera right now. I can see it just past the camera. I did finish the initial edit, and if you're a Patreon supporter and you've seen the behind the scenes video, you know what that means. It's where I've gotten all the video together, I've chopped it down and edited it down to the footage that I'm going to use, cut out the extra. Still need to record the audio and sync that up with the narration audio with the video, and then do like an opening and close, and then I can finally render and put that out. And then it'll be time for a review, and this was a long build, so there's a lot to talk about. And then there isn't. I don't know, it's just a long build, so I've got to definitely take some time to put that together. Still slowly moving forward. Slowly, and I hate it, slowly moving forward. Gonna leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters for your continued support. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you to everyone who comments. Gives me something more to talk about, makes these videos a bit more interesting, and I do love to run my mouth if you haven't noticed. Leave it at that. Thank you for watching. As always, keep on keeping on.